they can, but then they come to what looks like a big solid wall. But on the top, there's very delicate blocks. So we can see these blocks here don't actually take much to knock them off. So that's the turn from fence 3 round to fence 4. Another very interesting line in this is one of our doubles. Nancy Wetmore's our analyst. She's upstairs. Nancy, we don't see this very often, but coming down the long side at 5A, we've got a really big, powerful treble bar. Then we have a skinny oxer. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit about that line.
Well, as you pointed out, you don't very often see it. And the triple bar, they've got to get through a lot of width. And I'm just going to check and see what that triple bar is. It's 1.45 meters wide. So there's a bit of width. Sometimes they land a little bit shallow. And right after that is this skinny oxer, as you pointed out. It's not very wide. They've got 25 feet in there for their one stride. So that might just be a little bit tricky there, Adam, for them to accomplish that cleanly.
Yeah, as well as that, Nancy, another line I thought was interesting is the next double on track. It's the Longines double, because when they land over this one, I walk the distance down here, and there's an option there. I think they can either go on 5 strides or 4. Now, there might be an inside turn as they land over fence number 10, but I think, and you might say that I'm wrong, but if they want to get that turn, I think they've got to come down the line on 5 and not push for 4.
Oh, definitely there is, and it's difficult to tell from here. You're down there. It looks like it would be a pretty darn tight inside turn, but boy, it would sure save a lot of time if they could accomplish it.
And we can't forget about the final fence, because they're going to be coming off an oxer on the corner, so a big powerful fence. And then we push down where I'm standing as well, and we're going to come down to the final fence. It's a very delicate upright, and it looks quite up to height as well. But if we come down to this fence and just have a look, some of you may notice there's actually flags on these fences. We see a white flag. That's going to be jumped on the left-hand side, and on the opposite side, there's a red flag. So it's always white on the left and red on the right. And of course, as they land, it's not finished yet, because they can push on and try and save that final bit of time as they push down over the finish line. It's going to be an incredible evening. It is all about being the fastest clear. We've got some of the very best riders in the world, and it looks like one of America's finest, Leslie Howard, is down walking the course. Leslie, always great to have you here. What's your thoughts to the track so far as you're counting down this line?
Yeah, it's a lot of related distances. I think Richard's done a very nice job. I think it's a fairly strong 150 tonight, and so I'm sure the cream will rise to the top.
Very quickly, tell us about the horse you've got here tonight.
I have Utah, who he's been one of my partners for about 10 years now. He's 14 and a lot of experience. He's won here at the Royal, so hopefully he'll be good tonight.
Well, great to have you here. I hope it didn't make you lose count as you were coming down there.
Doesn't really matter.
Best of luck. Leslie Howard there, one of the very best in America, come to one of the very best shows here in Canada. We're sending you back upstairs now. Steve Serafin and, of course, Nancy Wetmore taking us through the Western Canadian Cup for 2015.
We'll be with the Weston Open, $50,000 in prize money, and 21 of our international riders going for the top prize tonight. We'll be underway with that class very shortly. Folks, we have a very special award coming up. This is the David Friedman Volunteer Award here at the Royal Horse Show. This award is for outstanding volunteer contribution to this year's Royal Horse Show. We'd like to take a moment now to recognize the tremendous effort required to hold a horse show as large as this year's Royal. A large part of our success is attributed to our dedicated volunteers who put in countless hours behind the scenes. In recognition of their contributions, Mr. David Friedman will be presenting the Friedman Award this evening to a very deserving individual. David has been a valued volunteer here, serving both on the ring committee and as horse show chairman. Tonight's recipient began volunteering at the Royal Horse Show and has been an integral part of the ring committee, helping to organize behind the scenes and always willing to lend a hand. The Royal will always be thankful for his contribution to its success, and we congratulate Mr. Ian Gilmore, this year's recipient of the David Friedman Award. David Friedman joining us, his children Sam and Gabby Friedman, along with Nicole Laver, for this presentation. Here comes Ian. He's out back organizing. How about a nice salute? Here's our David Friedman Volunteer Award winner, Mr. Ian Gilmore. One further award as our riders are finishing up their course walk this evening. We have the Whitaker Cup presented by Mrs. Sheila Whitaker, and Marty Whitaker honors Canada's highest ranking rider on the FEI ranking list for 2015, who is a competitor at this year's Royal Horse Show. The Whitaker Cup is presented in honor of a great Canadian, Brigadier General Dennis Whitaker. Brigadier General Dennis Whitaker was chairman of the Canadian equestrian team for 22 years. It was during his tenure that the team won 2 world championships and 2 Olympic medals. In 1989, he was named a member of the Order of Canada. The following year, he was inducted into the Canadian Sports Hall of Fame. In April of 1995, the French government awarded General Whitaker the prestigious Order of the Legion of Honor for his role in the liberation of France. In 2006, he was inducted into the Canadian Equestrian Hall of Fame. Royal Horse Show thanks the Whitaker family for their generous support. This year's recipients, we'd like to congratulate Mr. Ian Miller, and joining us to present that award, Mr. John Taylor, on behalf of Sheila Whitaker, joining us in the ring. Ian? Getting in the highest ranked rider on the ranking list, FEI ranking list, who is a competitor here at the Royal Horse Show. So again, we salute his efforts again. Captain Canada receiving the Whitaker Award here at the Royal Horse Show. Okay, riders, so we'll ask you to finish up the course walk as we send Ian Miller off with the Whitaker Award for 2015. Show jumping about to happen, folks. Again, we have 12 numbered obstacles on the course, 14 jumping efforts. As Adam and Nancy pointed out, 2 combinations. The first one coming early on the course, the triple bar oxer, and then the Longines vertical going away from the in gate, a vertical oxer at 9A and B. Now it's a 1-round competition, faults and time are considered. And Nancy, if you want to chime in here, we do have table C speeds. They're a bit smaller. The oxers usually ramped. These oxers are pretty square. The jumps are bigger than in a table C speed class. The riders are going to have to be very careful.
Oh, they most definitely are. As Leslie Howard pointed out, it's a good solid meter 50. So although you are against the clock, you can't be just running at these things without your horse in hand. This has always been one of my favorite classes. The horses have been in the ring 2 or 3 times. The riders know the ring well now, and they kind of know what to expect from the course designer. So it's usually a very, very competitive class.
Yeah, we talked about that last night, and over the past several years, this Weston Canadian Open has been a very crowd favorite and a very entertaining class. So, folks, get ready for some great show jumping action here. Part of our Friday night, $50,000 in prize money, and 21 riders about set to join us. Welcome in our first rider representing the country of Colombia here at the Royal Horse Show. Here's Roberto Turan, and he is aboard Brilliant Durouet, 10-year-old Oldenburg Gelding.
Well, this is a new horse to Roberto this summer. It actually belongs to Lubov Kochetkova of Russia, and the horse was a little bit strong with her and had a few problems, and Roberto was taken over the ride and really tried to get the horse straightened out a little bit. And I know he's very, very high on the horse, so we'll watch and see how he makes out this evening.
Well, finish up with just the one knockdown coming around past the in-gate. 9A is down. We have a four-fault effort in 63.05 seconds.
Well, you can see why Roberto is quite high on this horse. What a beautiful jumper. And I think this 9A is going to be a bit of a problem. They're swinging away from the in-out gate, and I don't think Brilliant really got his eye on the jump quickly enough, and I think that's why the jump came down. Roberto did the 5 strides down that line and managed the inside turn, so I think we're going to see that happen quite a bit.
He's got to finish up with 4 faults in 63.05 seconds here this evening. Here's a rider from the United States. He's won 2 classes here at the Royal Horse Show so far. Nice welcome for McLean Ward, and he is aboard H.H. Carlosi this evening, a Zangerscheid Gelding.
Well, this is really a nice addition to McLean's string. He's had 8 wins. He won the $100,000 hits on the Hudson Grand Prix and also the $500,000 WAF 12 Rolex Grand Prix.
Well, that was a very sad rail there, coming late in the course at number 11, 4 faults, but look at that time, 55.82. And Nancy, he did a lot of the things you talked about at the opening.
Well, absolutely, and this is a brilliant little jumper, and I think he actually, what happened was got to the jump and was anticipating turning left and sort of went across the jump and, of course, made that width even a little bit more and just cut down and had that back rail down, but a brilliant ride other than that one fence.
Great ride by McLean Ward to be aboard H.H. Carlos C this evening as we welcome in our third rider to our Weston Canadian Open. Nice welcome for Lisa Carlson. She hails from Okotoks, Alberta, and she is aboard Perrette, the 9-year-old Brandenburg mare. Lisa Carlson back at the Royal.
This is just a young horse of Lisa's. It's had some good prizes through the year, though. 4th in the Grand Prix in Bend, Oregon, and 5th in a meter 45, $25,000 class at Spruce Meadows.
Well, Lisa, problems out there tonight, finishing with 12 jumping faults and 3 time penalties, 15 total, 83.22 seconds.
Well, again, just a young horse of Lisa's, and we'll see him coming here to the combination we alluded to at the beginning of the class. Fine over the triple bar, but just caught that front rail on the way up coming out. And we see the same thing, front rail again coming down behind on that oxer.
Welcome in our next rider. Here's Laura Kraut from the USA aboard Constable 2, number 25 for the evening ride in our Weston Canadian Open. An 8-year-old Dutch warm blood gelding, and Laura Kraut from Wellington, Florida, up for the ride.
Well, again, another young horse for Laura, although some good prizes. 6 in a meter 50 class in Saint-Tropez this summer, and 6 in the Gold Cup.
Now we had a refusal and the knockdown at number 11, 8 jumping faults and 4 time penalties for Laura. And their time is 87.85 with a total of 12.
Well, again, just an 8-year-old horse of Laura, so not as experienced as some horses. And I think he came around the turn and just poked down, and you can see that jump's very airy. And I think he just poked down, had a look at that, looked through that jump and stopped.
We're still looking for a clear round here tonight in our Weston Canadian Open. The four-fault ride for McLean Ward holding up as our best performance so far, 4 and 55.82. Let's welcome in one of our Canadian riders. Here's Chris Sorensen aboard Bonaire. Chris is the owner and rider aboard this 9-year-old Dutch warm blood mare.
Well, I know Chris really likes this mare. He said she can be a little bit difficult sometimes to ride, but he said she's a fighter too at the jumps, and so she's got some attacking to do this evening.
Well, 2 top rails coming down, one at number 7. Number 11 becoming a problem as well. 8 faults in 67.10 seconds.
Well, that seventh fence is really on a kind of a dog-leg turn, and they come around the corner, and they all of a sudden there's the jump, and I just don't think Bonaire eyed that up carefully enough tonight to keep it up. Here we see him just cutting that front rail with the front hooves.
That score was 8 in 67.10 seconds for Chris Sorensen, currently ranked early on after 5 is shown in 6th place. This next rider hails from Lexington, Kentucky. 21-year-old Reed Kessler is the rider aboard Charity 33, a 10-year-old Westphalen mare.
Charity was second this week in the International Power and Speed, and also 9th in Brussels in the CSI 2 in the top series class.
Now 2 fences coming down, 6 and 9A for Reed Kessler and Charity 33, 8 faults in 60.96 seconds.
Well, it's interesting this evening. We're not seeing any one particular jump that's causing a problem. They've been coming from absolutely everywhere, and she just got there properly, and Charity did not get the legs up. And here, the same thing coming into 9A. It's been a problem before.
Still looking for that clear effort. Our next rider hails from Perth, Ontario. Let's welcome in Jonathan Miller. He's riding Moranis tonight, number 56. 12-year-old Oldenburg Gelding, and Jonathan Miller from Perth.
Well, Jonathan just took over the ride recently on this horse and is doing a great job with him. Has a super rapport. They were 3rd in the Grand Prix at Rockwood. or excuse me, Baroness was with Ian. Jonathan was fourth in the Table A in Orangeville with the horse.
Well, two top rails coming down for Baroness and Jonathan Miller, number 8 and number 9-8. Nate Falson, 68.81.
Well, fence number 8, I think Jonathan decided to add the stride here. Most people have been getting there in 5 strides. Gave him a little tap off the ground, and I'm not sure that that didn't just sort of take his focus off the jump. And again, 9A has been a bit of a problem jump, swinging away from the outgate.
We'll continue on, still looking for that clear round. A rider from Ireland joins us on course next here at the Royal Horse Show. Let's welcome in Dermot Lennon. He's aboard Loveview Lulu, 13-year-old Irish sport horse mare.
Well, Dermot's had a great week with this mare. They've been partnered together about 4 years, I think. Second in the World Cup here just the other night. First in the Irish Sport Council Classic in Dublin this summer.
Well, just the one knockdown, number 7, that skinny vertical over there coming down. This will be a second place score for Dermot. 4 faults in 59.93 seconds.
Well, I think Dermot got to number 7 a little bit quicker than he thought he was going to. But look at this amazing turn to the Toronto Skyline jump number 4. That was unbelievable. And here's the knockdown here. I think he just got there a little early, as I said. And he is the first rider that has done the 4 strides between Class 9AB and 10.
One of these riders is going to give us a clear round tonight. Maybe it'll be Erin Ballard. Let's welcome in Erin Ballard from Tottenham, Ontario. And she's riding Bart C tonight, Dutch Warmblood Gelding.
This is another new combination this summer, but really gelling well. She was 3rd in the Brickenden Trophy just yesterday with Bart, 2nd in the Split Rock Grand Prix this summer.
Well, narrow it a tough round here tonight. 20 total faults in 68.16 seconds.
Yeah, a really disappointing ride for Erin. I think she'll probably just have a look at her horse and look at the video and try and figure out what she thinks might have been the problem. He just wasn't on his game tonight. He's traditionally a very, very clean jumper, and tonight, for some reason, that just didn't happen.
Here's our 10th horse and rider combination as we still look for our first clear effort. This rider hails from Belgium. Let's welcome in Nicola Philipperts. He's aboard H&M Harley van de Bisschop. On course next, 8-year-old Belgian warm-blood gelding, 22-year-old rider Nicola Philipperts up.
Well, I think this is one horse in Nicola's string that he calls on to do the speed classes. It was second in Table C at the National Horse Show just recently, and first in the Washington International Horse Show Speed Final.
Well, it took one of our younger riders to show the way tonight. 22-year-old Nicola Philipperts from Belgium, a clear in 59.83.
Well, just a fantastic ride. When McLean Ward came in, he did 7 strides from the first to the second jump. And there have been very few riders that have been able to do that, but Nicola was able to do that, which added to his time. But again, put 9AB away. We've seen a problem there, and number 7, and a lovely jump over the last.
Our next rider has won 2 classes here at the Royal Horse Show so far this week. Let's welcome in, representing Ireland, here's Connor Swale aboard Martha Louise, entry number 50, where Susan and Ariel Grange, 11-year-old Swedish warm-blood mare, and Connor Swale.
Well, any rider will tell you that Connor is always a threat, and especially against the clock. And this is quite a fast horse he has here. She won the Gilera just a few days ago here at the Royal, and was also first in the Wellington WEF 2 Classic this winter. Well,
Well, he's on a pretty good clip there, but that rail at number 11, that's been down a few times so far. 4 faults for Connor. 60.55 seconds was the time.
Connor had a bit of a different strategy this evening from 9AB to fence number 10. He chose the 4 strides rather than the 5 strides and tucking inside. galloped around the turn, and I think he would like to have been just a little bit closer to fence number 11 to keep it up.
That performance puts him into the new 4th place in our standings. And we saw Leslie Howard during the course walk. Adam did talk to her. Let's welcome in Leslie. She's on course aboard Utah, number 22, the 14-year-old Dutch warm-blood gelding, and Leslie Howard.
Well, as Leslie told us in the opening, this horse and herself have been together for over 10 years, and it's just been a fantastic partnership. Just even this summer, second in the Hits on the Hudson Grand Prix, third in the $40,000 Friends of the Meadow class at Spruce Meadows.
Well, we got a clear effort and a new 2nd place in our standings. Leslie in Utah, clear in 64.04.
Oh, well, we saw some of that trademark leaping Leslie elbows going, but the end result was perfect. She had a different strategy. She added a lot of strides along the way, but she kept all the jumps up, and that's the important thing. There's the leaping Leslie elbows going.
It looks like the clear rounds are going to be hard to come by, so maybe a safe clear round was a great move there for Leslie. We'll see how that plays out. As we welcome in our newly crowned Canadian show jumping champion, let's welcome in Jill Henselwood aboard Farfelu de Pertem, number 71, Belgian warm-blood gelding, and our Canadian champion, Jill Henselwood.
Well, Jill's really very high on this horse. It's a new horse to her string. Actually belongs to a student of hers who's gone back to university, and Jill has the ride, but they already have 2 top 10 finishes at North Salem in September and 3rd in the World Cup at the Royal West Show.
Finishing up at 2 knockdowns on course here this evening. We have an 8-fault effort for Jill, and her mount 61.33 seconds was the time with 8.
Here, her first rail, really, I think the width just surprised him a little bit. He got plenty of height, but just chopped down quite quickly on that back rail. I think he thought he was over it, and that wasn't the case. And then caught this one on front going up.
So the lead belongs to number 46. Our rider from Belgium was Nicola Philipparts with that clear up at 59.83. Another rider representing Belgium. Let's welcome in Francois Maty. He is aboard Polinska des Îles. This is a 12-year-old Cell Francais mare on course with Francois Maty.
And Polenska's been a very competitive horse for Francois. Second in the Grand Prix of London and first in the Repsol Cup at Spruce Meadows this summer.
Well, just that one knockdown, a 4-fault score, 58.34 seconds. Nancy at number 7, Jumpspin down 4 times. The refusal there as well, becoming quite a problem.
Well, it is. As I said before, it's a bit of a hidden jump, and it's almost a dogleg turn. And don't forget, it's a very narrow jump. It's only an 8-foot rail, which makes the rail very much lighter than the other rail. So it doesn't take any type of a nudge at all before it'll come down.
He had a great time, 58.34 would have been a new leading time, but score and time puts him currently into the new 4th place in our standings here in our Weston Canadian Open here this evening. Next rider hails from the States. Here's Charlie Jacobs aboard Ksenia S, entry number 24 for CMJ Sport Horses. 9-year-old Zweibrücken, a German-bred mare, and Charles Jacobs.
Well, Kasinja's already had a 6th place here in the Gilera earlier this week, 4th in the Grand Prix at New Albany in September, and 6th in the Friends of the Meadows class in Spruce Meadows.
Well, once again, number 11 foiling a clear effort here. That's been down 5 times, Nancy. The time was 59.58 with that 4-fault score.
Well, Charlie really gave it a good go. He did the 5 strides down to number 10, made the inside turn, but it almost stopped him up, and the horse just didn't have enough impulsion to get across from that back rail. We'll see it coming here. Just got stopped up off the ground and didn't, excuse me, it was the front rail that came down. Just didn't get the Oxer done.
A rider from Belgium leading, Nicola Philipperts. Here's his twin brother, Olivier, of course, 22 years of age, aboard the Horse H&M Challenge Van de Begeiniker, number 48. This is a 13-year-old Sangergite, Belgian-bred gelding, and 22-year-old Olivier Philipperts up in the irons.
Well, I think he'll be looking to catch up to his brother. And Challenge was 3rd in the World Cup in Lexington just a few weeks ago and 4th in the CP Rail Grand Prix, again at the National Horse Show.
Well, Olivier with numerous problems, 16 total faults in 63.32 seconds.
Yeah, once again, a performance he was probably not hoping for when he came in the in-gate. We sort of looked at this combination before, and it was a light touch, but down that rail came. And so far, Richard Jeffrey has really given them something to jump tonight. This is always a very competitive class.
Well, we're down to just 5 remaining, folks, and we're still looking for a new change at the top there. 59.83 is that target time. Only 2 clears in our Weston Canadian Open so far. Let's welcome in Beezy Madden. She's our next rider on course, riding number 18, Vanilla, for Abigail Wexner of New Albany, Ohio, a Danish warm-blood mare.
Well, Leslie will be looking for her first win here at the Royal, and Vanilla could certainly do it. She was 4th in the Brickenden just the other day, 2nd in the $50,000 Live Oak Grand Prix this summer.
Well, 2 knockdowns there coming late on the course for Beezy. 8 faults in 58.50 seconds. They had the time, but costly 8 faults.
Well, the time was amazing. She was really on it, and I think perhaps that fence number 10, we'll just have a look here. I think maybe they were anticipating the turn really before the jump got going. You could just see her body just turning a little bit there, and I think maybe having the rail down. And then this last jump, it's very difficult to jump. You just have to gallop at it. Vanilla just did not get her back legs up.
Folks, 4 riders left to go. 2 of them are Canadian, and let's welcome in our next rider from Perth, Ontario. Maybe we can get a change at the top from Ian Miller aboard Teddy de Bescoteau, 12-year-old Belgian sport horse gelding, Captain Canada in the Coliseum.
This is a new horse for Ian as far as a partnership is concerned. It does belong to one of his students. So he's just, she has gone back to Bermuda. This horse jumped in the Pan Am Games with her, and Ian has taken over the ride.
Well, 2 knockdowns for Ian. They'll finish up with 8 faults here in our 1-round competition, the Weston Canadian Open. 8 faults, 65.28 seconds.
Well, we've seen 9AB come down, and we'll just see Teddy got off to the side and just didn't get his body straight and had that rail down. And once again, with the Richard Jeffrey line, sometimes if you don't get the going in, you get the other one at the end of the line coming down as well.
Finishing up with 8 faults, getting a time of 65.28 seconds, down to 3 to go. Here's another hope for Canada, folks. Let's welcome in Vanessa Mannix and Caroline Van Hutchine Castile, 13-year-old Belgian warm blood mare, and our 26-year-old Canadian rider, Vanessa Mannix, joining us.
Vanessa's had a great week, 5th already in the Brickenden Trophy with Caroline, also 5th in a Table A in Harrisburg just a few weeks ago.
Well, you heard the bell. That'll stop the clock overhead. Refusal there coming around that Longines clock. The crew will rebuild that jump during the timeout, get it exactly where it was, and built back the way it was before we sound a second bell to let the rider know the jump is okay, and then they would proceed from there. Looks like she's going to retire here this evening and leave with no score. Only your salute here for the efforts of our 26-year-old rider, Vanessa Mannix.
Well, I think, Steve, actually what's happened is a piece of her equipment, unfortunately, was broken, and she wouldn't be able to carry on without that. And she was just a little bit far away from that jump, and really the horse couldn't have jumped from where he was. And you just see that piece of leather hanging down underneath now. That's part of the horse's martingale, the two straps that you see going up to her reins. So she really had no other choice but to retire this evening.
Tough break on our Friday night. Richard Jeffrey with our course designer building that wall back up, all the parts of the puzzle going back in. With only 2 left to go and still up on top in our standings, we have that ride of Nicola Philippertz in 59.83 seconds. And then it's Leslie Howard aboard the seasoned horse Utah with 64.04, about 5 seconds behind in second place. So we got a group of 4 falters heading up the top 8 placings here in our Weston Canadian Open. So 2 riders left to go before we wrap things up here tonight on our Friday schedule here at the 93rd Royal Horse Show. Next rider hails from Colombia. Let's welcome in Daniel Blumen. He's riding Con Concreto Believe. This is a 9-year-old Dutch warm blood mare, 25-year-old rider representing Colombia on course.
Well, Daniel and Believe have already had a win this week. And I think he'd like another win. They won the opening international class this week. They also won the $212,000 Grand Prix in Central Park this summer.
It's quite the spectacular 4 in the ride to number 3 after that. 4 faults in 63.10 seconds for Daniel Blumen.
Oh, well, I agree, Steve. That's in the category of that's incredible. Believe actually came around the corner, and it was like she all of a sudden saw a ghost down in the middle of that oxer, and poor Daniel went up the horse's neck, but just sat right back, gathered his reins up, and was able to get to the next jump. So beautiful recovery, and we can almost see the same thing here. She just really threw her front legs out in front of her.
So down to our final entry here in our competition, that target time. We've been talking about it for quite some time now. The rider in 10th place, or the rider went 10th in our competition, laid that time down. 59.83 is the target. Here's our final rider representing New Zealand here at the Royal Horse Show. Let's welcome in Sharon Wardley. He's riding Hickstead's Axel, a 10-year-old Dutch warm blood gelding.
Well, this is really an interesting horse. You can tell by its name. It's by the great Hickstead, and it's interesting for me to see because Hickstead was such a little horse at about 15.2 or 15.3. This horse is 16.3, but very much like his sire, has already won several Grand Prix.
Well, at number 11, a problem jump tonight, folks. A 4-fault score there for Hickstead's Axel and Sharon Wardley. 68.83 was their time with 4.
Well, I think Sharon was hoping a careful, clean round would slide him into 3rd place, but every once in a while when you have those thoughts that doesn't always necessarily happen. 9AB, no problem, though. We'll see him coming around the turn, just dropped that left front foot and brought that oxer rail down.
Well, folks, our top competitors will be joining us right back for the presentation. Again, we honor our winning rider with their national anthem, part of our victory celebration here coming up. We'll just get the cooler on the winning horse, and we'll be right back with our presentation. Our Weston Canadian Open, generously sponsored by George Weston Limited, Wonderbred tonight. Horse show resumes tomorrow morning at 7:30, bright and early. We have our young horses, the Governor General's Cup and Lieutenant Governor's Cup horses showing first thing tomorrow morning. Junior jumpers, Royal Ponies, and a whole cast of thousands tomorrow. K9 Equine Challenge will be part of our matinee tomorrow evening. We have our final Grand Prix here, the Big Ben Challenge, part of our Saturday schedule. Just getting that cooler on the winning entry. We'll have our top rider coming back for the presentation very shortly.
evening here in the Weston Canadian Open. He went through halfway. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome your winner for Belgium, Nicola Philippaerts. Now, Nicola, when you came in here this evening, there was no clears. You were our first clear. What was your plan? Were you kind of going for a slightly steadier one, or did you know there was a lot of riders still to come, and did you really go for it?
Yeah, I think there were still a few riders to come, and I tried to go as fast as possible, but into the risks a little bit. My horse jumped amazing, and I'm happy it worked well out.
And when you rode through the finish line, did you think you'd definitely done it?
No, not really. I think there were still a few good ones behind me, but I was lucky enough that they had a mistake, and yeah, I'm happy with my horse.
He's an incredible horse. Many, many congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, he is your winner here this evening. Nicola Philippaerts takes the title for Belgium.
Class this evening generously sponsored by George Weston Limited. George Weston Limited has been a proud supporter of the Royal Agricultural Winter Fair for many years. Presenting the Weston Cup on behalf of George Weston Limited. On behalf of George Weston Limited, we have Renee and Agnes Lemisser will present the award to the Weston Canadian Open champion. And again, that'll be our rider Nicola Philippaerts aboard H&M Harley Van de Bishop. Again, Renee and Agnes Lemisser presenting on behalf of George Weston Limited. Renee is the Senior Vice President of Finance at Holt Renfrew, joining us for our presentation this evening with his wife, Agnes. In addition, our rider receiving a very special engraved bottle of Johnny Walker Blue Label. So our rider is going to get one of those as well. Specially engraved bottle of Johnny Walker Blue, in addition to the top share of our prize money and all the congratulations from us here in the Ricoh Coliseum. As we honor the win here for our rider from Belgium, Nicola Philippaerts, I'd like to ask you all to please rise and remove your hats for the national anthem of Belgium. Again, we congratulate Nicola Philippaerts at H&M Harley Van de Bishop winning our Weston Canadian Open here this evening. Second, we'll be going to number 22, Utah. Utah from the Utah group. Leslie Howard joining us for the second award. Congratulating Leslie Howard. Third place to number 20, H&H Carlos C. It was McLean Ward aboard for the Double H Farm out of Wellington, Florida. The fourth award going to 44 this evening, 4-4 Polinska de Lille and Francois Matty from Belgium. In the fourth award, fifth to number 24 this evening, 24, and that was Ksenia S. from CMJ Sport Horse and Charlie Jacobs. Rounding out the top six, number 53 this evening, it was Loveview Lulu, an entry from Judith Sussex and shown by Dermot Lennon. How about a nice round of applause for our top six here in our Weston Canadian Open and our proud sponsor, George Weston Limited. Round of honor coming up here at our Ricoh Coliseum. It'll be led by our 22-year-old rider and champion here in our Weston Canadian Open this evening. Nicola Philippaerts leads the way in our round of honor in our Weston Canadian Open here on our Friday night. They put on a great show tonight, just two clear efforts. It was a tough course here from our course designer, Richard Jeffrey, but that's the nature of a one-round competition against the clock. Should resemble a first round of a Grand Prix, and certainly did today with just those two clear rounds in our Weston Canadian Open. 22-year-old rider from Belgium winning, Nicola Velharts aboard H&M Harley Van de Bischoff. That'll wrap things up for our Friday evening here at our 93rd Royal Horse Show. Resume tomorrow morning at 7:30 in the morning. We have our line classes coming up at 7:30 tomorrow morning. I'd like to thank you all for joining us here at the Rinko for our Friday night. Have a safe drive heading out. Those of you watching on the World Wide Web, we say good night as well.